Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every person's life when they must face the undeniable truth: no one else can walk your path for you. The way of walking alone is not a surrender to loneliness, it is the courage to embrace solitude as a crucible for growth. When you walk alone, you learn to silence the noise of the crowd and listen to the quiet whispers of your own soul. Solitude is not the absence of company, it is the presence of self. It is in those moments far from distraction that you discover who you really are, what you truly value, and where you need to go. Walking alone demands responsibility. It means standing tall and accepting the weight of your choices. The world is rife with opportunities to shift blame, to say, it's their fault or I had no choice. But when you walk your own path, those excuses dissolve. You realize that every step, every misstep is yours to own. And while that responsibility is daunting, it is also liberating. The road of solitude also forces you to face the chaos within. There are no distractions to protect you from your fears, your insecurities, and your regrets. But here's the thing: chaos is not your enemy. It is your teacher. To confront it is to grow, to shape yourself into someone who can endure the storms of life without breaking. Walking alone builds resilience. It strips away the illusion that you need someone else to fix you, to validate you, or to save you. You become your own anchor, your own guide. And when you emerge from this journey, you find that the opinions of others, the fleeting comforts of the crowd, hold far less power over you. Finally, the way of walking alone is not about isolation for its own sake. It is about finding meaning in the alignment of your actions and your principles. It is about pursuing a purpose that is uniquely yours, regardless of whether others understand or approve. This is not an easy path, but it is the only path that leads to authenticity. So I ask you, are you willing to walk alone? To step away from the familiar and venture into the unknown? Because it is only there, in the solitude of your own journey, that you will find the strength, the clarity, and the meaning you have been searching for. Solitude is often misunderstood. Many people equate being alone with loneliness, a state of longing for connection, a void that seeks to be filled. But solitude is something entirely different. It is a deliberate choice, a purposeful withdrawal from the constant hum of societal noise, the expectations, the distractions, and even the well-meaning but often misguided influences of others. Solitude is not about escaping the world, it is about stepping back to see it more clearly. And in that clarity, you begin to see yourself. In solitude, there is no one else to impress, no roles to play, no external demands that cloud your vision. It is just you alone with your thoughts. And while that can be uncomfortable, it is also liberating. The time spent in solitude allows you to ask the hard questions: who am I when no one is watching? What do I truly want? What values do I hold? Not because they were handed to me, but because I have tested them, questioned them, and chosen them for myself. These questions are not easy to answer, and solitude does not guarantee immediate clarity. What it offers is the space to wrestle with them, to sit in the uncertainty, and to slowly unearth the truths that lie buried beneath layers of external influence. Solitude fosters independence. It removes the safety nets of constant validation or criticism, forcing you to rely on your own judgment. This doesn't mean you shut yourself off from the world or reject the wisdom of others. It means you take the time to evaluate what you've heard, to separate the noise from the signal, and to decide what resonates with your own sense of truth. This process is not just empowering, it is transformative. It is in solitude that you build the foundation of self-reliance, learning to trust yourself and your ability to navigate the complexities of life. But solitude is not easy. It is not a peaceful retreat into blissful silence. It is a confrontation. Without the distractions of the outside world, you are left to face your own inner chaos, the fears you've buried, the insecurities you've masked, and the doubts that whisper at the edges of your consciousness. These are not enemies to be defeated, but parts of yourself to be understood. Solitude forces you to engage with these aspects, to make peace with them, and to integrate them into the person you are becoming. In this process, solitude becomes a source of strength. The quiet moments teach you resilience because you learn that you can endure your own company. You can face the void and find that it isn't empty, it's full of possibilities. You can find clarity not because the world outside has changed, but because you've learned to see it differently. Solitude, then, is not a withdrawal from life, but a deeper engagement with it. It is a path to authenticity, a way of rediscovering who you are and who you have the potential to be. Taking responsibility for your path is one of the most transformative decisions you can make in life. It means accepting, without excuse or deflection, that where you are and where you go are shaped primarily by your choices. It's easy to shift blame onto circumstances, other people, or even fate. This instinct to find external causes for our struggles is deeply human. It protects us from the discomfort of admitting our own role in the outcomes of our lives. But this very avoidance robs us of the power to change. True growth begins when you step away from excuses and take full ownership of your journey. Walking alone symbolizes this ownership. When you decide to walk your own path, you shed the illusion that someone else is responsible for your happiness, your failures, or your progress. This doesn't mean ignoring the undeniable challenges that life can impose. Circumstances often shape the starting points or obstacles along the way. But it means recognizing that, regardless of the challenges, your response to them is ultimately your own. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you face it. Responsibility, in this sense, is not a burden, it is an invitation to freedom. The decision to take responsibility is not without its difficulties. It requires confronting uncomfortable truths about yourself, the habits you've allowed to linger, the decisions you've postponed, the times you've chosen the easy path over the right one. This confrontation is not about self-criticism or guilt, it is about honesty. When you walk your path alone, you have no one else to hold accountable for the detours or setbacks. This can feel daunting at first, but it is also empowering. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every misstep becomes an opportunity to adjust your course. Responsibility also brings a sense of clarity to your actions. When you understand that you are in charge of your path, you begin to question the choices you make. Are you living in alignment with your values, or are you simply following a path laid out by others? Are you pursuing what truly matters to you, or are you driven by the fear of disappointing someone else? These are difficult questions, but they are necessary. Taking responsibility means choosing to live deliberately, rather than drifting through life on autopilot. Of course, walking alone can feel isolating at times. The absence of a safety net, the lack of someone to share the blame, can be intimidating. But it also fosters resilience. When you take full ownership of your journey, you begin to realize that you are more capable than you ever imagined. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable become manageable because you've developed the skills and the mindset to handle them. Ultimately, taking responsibility for your path is about reclaiming your agency. It's about recognizing that you are the architect of your life, not a passive participant in it. By embracing this mindset, you give yourself the power to shape your future, to walk your path with purpose and conviction, and to build a life that is truly your own. Facing the chaos within is one of the most difficult yet transformative journeys a person can undertake. In the stillness of solitude, when distractions fall away, we are confronted with our inner world, the thoughts, fears, and emotions we often suppress in the busyness of daily life. This confrontation is not optional when you walk alone. It is inevitable. And while it may feel like stepping into a storm, it is through this process that we uncover the deeper truths about who we are and what we must do to grow. The chaos within us is not random. It is a swirling collection of unresolved conflicts, buried fears, and unacknowledged desires. It is the voice that tells you you're not good enough, the doubt that keeps you from taking risks, the regret that whispers about what could have been. These forces can be overwhelming, and most people spend their lives running from them, numbing themselves with distractions, clinging to the noise of the world to avoid the discomfort of silence. But avoidance is not a solution. The chaos remains, growing louder and more disruptive over time, until it demands to be faced. When you walk alone, there is no one else to shield you from this inner chaos. It's just you and the storm. At first, this can feel terrifying. We often fear that if we look too deeply into ourselves, we'll find something we cannot handle, something broken or unworthy. But the truth is quite the opposite. Chaos is not the enemy. It is a messenger, a teacher. It exists to show us what needs attention, what needs healing, and what needs to change. Confronting this chaos requires courage. It means sitting with your discomfort instead of fleeing from it. It means asking hard questions. Why do I feel this way? What am I avoiding? What is this pain trying to tell me? The answers may not come immediately, and when they do, they might not be easy to accept. But every moment spent engaging with these questions is a step toward clarity. You begin to see patterns in your thoughts and behaviors, to understand where they come from, and to recognize that you have the power to change them. Facing chaos is not about eliminating it entirely. Life will always contain elements of unpredictability and struggle. Instead, it is about learning to navigate the storm, to find order within it. The process shapes you. It builds resilience, teaching you that you can endure even the most turbulent moments. It fosters self-awareness, helping you to understand your strengths and limitations. And most importantly, it transforms chaos from something you fear into something you embrace as part of your growth. The greatest gift of confronting your inner chaos is the realization that it does not define you. Beneath the storm lies a core of strength and clarity, a deeper sense of self that emerges only when you face the turmoil head-on. It is in this confrontation that you begin to take control of your life, not by avoiding the chaos, but by understanding and integrating it into the person you are becoming. Walking alone fosters a deep and unshakable resilience born from independence. It strips away the comforting illusion that someone else will always be there to solve your problems, validate your worth, or guide you through life's uncertainties. While connections with others are vital, there is a point at which reliance on external support becomes a barrier to growth. True resilience comes not from leaning on others, but from learning to stand firm on your own. Walking alone is not about rejecting help or relationships. It is about cultivating the inner strength to face life's challenges, even when no one else is by your side. Independence is not something that is given, it is something that must be developed. When you walk alone, you are forced to make your own decisions, chart your own course, and live with the consequences of those choices. This can be intimidating because it means there is no one else to blame if things go wrong, but in this responsibility lies immense power. Each decision you make, each challenge you overcome, becomes a testament to your ability to navigate the world. Over time, you begin to trust yourself more deeply, knowing that you have the skills and resilience to handle whatever comes your way. Walking alone also teaches you to manage uncertainty. Life is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of planning or preparation can eliminate every unknown. When you walk with others, it's easy to rely on their reassurances or shared plans to alleviate the anxiety of the unknown. But when you are alone, you are forced to confront uncertainty head-on. This experience, while uncomfortable, builds an inner resourcefulness. You learn to adapt, to think critically, and to find solutions even when the path ahead is unclear. You develop the confidence that no matter what happens, you will find a way forward. Resilience through independence also means learning to find strength within yourself, rather than seeking it externally. When you walk alone, you realize that the validation or approval of others, while nice, is not essential to your sense of self-worth. You begin to build an identity rooted in your own values, choices, and achievements rather than the opinions or expectations of others. This shift is transformative. It frees you from the constant need to please others or conform to societal standards, allowing you to live authentically and pursue what truly matters to you. There will be times when walking alone feels isolating, even overwhelming. The absence of external support can make the journey feel harder than it needs to be. But it is precisely in these moments of solitude that resilience is forged. You learn to carry yourself through difficult times, to find strength you didn't know you had, and to emerge on the other side stronger and more self-assured. Walking alone is not an easy path, but it is one of profound growth. It challenges you to become self-reliant, to trust your own abilities, and to face life's uncertainties with courage. In doing so, it cultivates a resilience that no external support can ever match, a resilience that comes from knowing you are capable of standing strong, even when the world feels like it's falling apart. Finding meaning in individual purpose is perhaps the most profound aspect of walking alone. It requires you to step away from the paths prescribed by others' family expectations, societal norms, or the opinions of friends, and ask yourself the essential question, what is it that I am meant to do? This is not about selfish ambition or isolation, but about discovering a purpose so deeply aligned with your inner values that it brings clarity and direction to your life. Walking alone gives you the space and freedom to explore this purpose without interference, and in doing so, it offers the opportunity to live a life of authenticity and meaning. When you walk your own path, you confront the external pressures that shape so much of what people do. Many of us spend years pursuing goals that are not truly ours, careers chosen to please others, lifestyles designed to impress, or decisions made out of fear rather than conviction. These paths can provide temporary satisfaction, but they often lead to a deeper sense of emptiness because they are not rooted in our authentic selves. Walking alone forces you to turn inward, to silence the noise of the world, and to ask what truly matters to you. Discovering your individual purpose is not an instant revelation, it is a process. It begins with introspection, with examining your values, passions, and talents. It involves trial and error, moments of doubt, and sometimes even failure. Walking alone allows you to embrace this process without judgment. There is no need to rush or perform for anyone else. You have the time and space to explore, to take risks, and to discover what resonates deeply within you. And as you refine your understanding of your purpose, you begin to align your actions with your values, creating a sense of harmony between who you are and what you do. Living with purpose brings a profound sense of fulfillment, but it also requires courage. The path you choose may not align with the expectations of others. It may involve sacrifices or challenges that make the journey difficult. But the strength that comes from walking alone, your resilience, independence, and self-awareness equips you to face these challenges with confidence. You are no longer seeking approval or external validation because your purpose is its own reward. It becomes the compass that guides your decisions, the anchor that keeps you grounded, and the light that motivates you even in the darkest times. Walking alone to find your individual purpose also allows you to make a unique contribution to the world. When you align your life with your deepest values and pursue what truly matters to you, your actions carry authenticity and impact. You are no longer simply following the crowd, you are creating something meaningful that only you can offer. This is not just fulfilling for you, it inspires others to seek their own paths and reminds them of the importance of living with intention. Ultimately, walking alone is not about isolation, it is about connection to yourself, to your values, and to a purpose that gives your life meaning. It is a journey of self-discovery, resilience, and authenticity that allows you to live not for others' expectations, but for the unique vision you hold for your life. In the end, the way of walking alone is not about abandoning the world or rejecting relationships, it's about finding the courage to embrace your own journey. It is a path of solitude that sharpens your clarity, builds your independence, and reveals the strength you didn't know you had. By taking responsibility for your choices, facing the chaos within, and aligning yourself with your deepest purpose, you become the architect of a life that is truly your own. Walking alone isn't easy. It will challenge you, unsettle you, and force you to grow in ways that comfort never could. But it is also profoundly liberating. It frees you from the weight of external expectations and opens the door to authenticity, resilience, and meaning. So step forward with conviction. Trust the process. Know that while the way may be solitary, it is also transformative. For in walking alone, you do not lose yourself, you find yourself. And in doing so, you discover a life of purpose, strength, and fulfillment that no one else could ever define for you. Thank you.